Welcome everyone to today's Title Topics webinar. These are Alta's free presentations we offer every month on issues important to title professionals. I'm Jeremy Yohe, Alta's Vice President of Communications, and today we've got a great program lined up with three expert title professionals from across the country who are going to talk about Alta's Homebuyer Outreach Program and the various ways they are utilizing this member-exclusive material to educate and market to consumers. Before starting, I just have to run through a few housekeeping items. A copy of today's presentation can be downloaded from the handout section from the GoToWebinar window on your computer screen. If you're listening just through audio, please send me an email and I'll send you the material after the webinar, and my email is jyohe@alta.org, and that's jyohe@alta.org. All participant lines are muted for today's presentation. If you have a question, please use the chat box function and we will address questions at the end of the presentation. And as an added benefit, today's presentation is being recorded. After it's processed, the recording will be available on Alta's website at alta.org/title topics, and that is alta.org/title topics. Need to thank Fidelity for sponsoring our Title Topics webinars this year. Their support allows us to offer these educational opportunities free of charge. With that out of the way, let me briefly introduce today's speakers. Joining us today is Laura Francesconi. Laura is Senior Vice President and Director of Corporate Development for Meridian Title Corporation. Also presenting today is Lisa Steele. Lisa is Executive Vice President for Mother Lode Holding Company. And rounding out today's speakers is Nancy Hughes. Nancy is Vice President for Jackson Hole Title and Escrow in Wyoming. And all three speakers have given presentations in the past on the Homebuyer Outreach Program and really have immersed themselves on the topic. So you're going to get a lot out of today's conversation. Just briefly, we're going to touch on the Homebuyer Outreach Program, why Alta developed it, give an overview of all the resources that are in the Homebuyer Guide, and then they're really going to dig into what they've done in their market to customize the material, and this is going to be really valuable for everyone on the call. And then walk through tips for training your staff, and then we'll close out with some new resources that Alta is developing to move this along. Just before I turn it over to Nancy, I just wanted to ask one quick poll question to kind of see what everyone is doing as far as consumer marketing. Question is, do you currently do any marketing directly to consumers? Yes, some, we want to do more, or no. I'll give you just a few more seconds here. Got about half of the people on the call voted. Some, we want to do more. It's leading the pack, more than 50%, kind of where I thought it would be. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Very good. All right, 54% we want to do more. 12% yes, 34% no. So hopefully we can be helpful in today's discussion. And Nancy, with that, knowing kind of where people are at, I'll turn it over to you, and you can kick us off with the Homebuyer Outreach Program.
Great, thanks, Jeremy. Hi, everyone. Greetings from Jackson Hole. I'm going to start talking a little bit, some background on HOP, what it is, and discuss why we're doing it. So the main thing is that HOP is a huge pattern shift for our industry. So for the first time, it's like we're breaking that fourth wall. We're talking directly to consumers. Our primary goal in doing this is to educate consumers about the benefits of title insurance. But we're going to do that by educating you guys, our Alta members, as well as our realtor and lender partners, so that we're all on the same page with simple words and language to use when engaging home buyers. But why are we doing this? Why now, after all these years, right, are we finally talking to the people who benefit from our product? Well, I think we all know that our buddies over at the CFPB label our product as optional. And it's incumbent upon us to take control of our message and tell our own story. We've also had, 10 years ago, the GAO report came out. The National Association of Insurance Commissioners, have all issued reports saying that they want our industry to take action to better educate and protect consumers. And then from a personal standpoint, I can tell you 25 years in this business, and it always felt a little odd to me, right? It feels off. Why aren't we talking to these people directly? We should be. They're the ones who are benefiting from our product. But you don't have to take my word for it. Consumers are telling us the exact same thing. And Lisa's going to talk to you now about what the consumers have told us when we did some consumer outreach. And Lisa, you want to take that away?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Nancy, and greetings to everyone. I'm talking out of rainy California today, normally which would be sunny California. So we'll move into the research. The strong basis for any initiative is research. And in 2014, ALTA conducted an online survey of more than 1,000 recent home buyers. The results confirmed that there's confusion about title insurance, and that probably does not come to as a surprise to many. This survey showed that early education works and has a quantifiable impact on a homeowner's understanding and favorability towards title insurance. So respondents received information about the option to obtain an owner's title insurance policy when they were in the process of buying their homes. Those people that received that were more significantly likely to have a favorable opinion of title companies and title insurance. They are more likely to know that there are two policies and more likely to say that they have both. The survey found that home buyers want information about title insurance up front. Of those who did not receive information early in the home buying process about the option to obtain an owner's title insurance policy, half of those surveyed wished they had. So the results came down to wanting more information. And what we need to realize as ALTA members is it's critical for us to take control of the message and explain how an owner's insurance policy protects a homeowner's investment. We'll cite some examples throughout this webinar of ways that we can do that. And the first, I'm going to transition into looking at the process through the home buyer's lens. So the importance of looking at your business from the consumer perspective is the shift that we need to make. We cannot throw away all of our marketing, but we do need to pay attention to the person that is paying for the product. We can do this in conjunction with our realtors and our lenders. And we'll talk more about that and give examples throughout this webinar. It's imperative that we forget what we know about title insurances, encumbrances, liens, etc. Just for a moment. I don't want anyone to panic on this call and hang up. So just forget about it for a moment. And the reason that this is imperative is that we have found through research that ALTA has done that consumers really don't care about what we do. They care about how it benefits them. So how you look through the home buyer lens in your market to relate to your communication and education to the consumer is really important. There are some suggestions that don't have borders as far as geographic locations go. First, keep it simple. Put the consumer first. Talk about consumer education versus consumer marketing. Millennials want a different experience than Gen Xers. Know your client's needs. Get to know the hot marketing materials and understand how you can relate and educate your customers on offering them 1, a peace of mind, 2, reducing their risks, and 3, how owner's title insurance is the smart option. And with that, I will turn it back to Nancy to talk about key audiences.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, so as Lisa's mentioned, our key audience is the home buyers. That's who we're trying to reach and educate. But the program materials have been developed to address all these different audiences. So in addition to our home buyers, we're obviously talking to ALTA members, and we're going to talk to you about how to educate and empower your staff to make sure that they understand and have the right information and the right tools so that they can engage home buyers. We have materials developed specifically for people who sell real estate, who sell homes, realtors, attorneys, builders, specific materials for them. as well as our lenders. And depending on who you are and what kind of state you're in, are you in a seller pay state or a buyer pay state, certain elements of these materials are going to appeal more to you or have better uses for you. The other thing I want to point out really briefly right here is if you look at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see the American Land Title Association logo. And you're going to see that we've changed very thoughtfully the tagline under that. So a lot of you will remember that for years the tagline said, protecting the American dream. It was talking about what we did, that we protect the American dream. Instead, we're talking again directly to the consumer, and we're telling them that, hey, here's what this is all about. It's about protecting your property rights. Protect your property rights. That's the benefit to you. And I think now, Laura, are you going to go through some of the elements of the Homebuyer Guide?
Yes. Thanks, Nancy. And I'm joining everybody from Northwest Indiana, right outside of Chicago, with Meridian Title. And yeah, so the Alta Homebuyer Guide. Alta has created this Homebuyer Guide with the input of many people, such as Nancy and Lisa. I know they had a lot of input with all the material that has been put together. But it's to help all of us easily communicate the value of owner's title insurance. Get all of us on the same page and have a resource to go to so that we can get a consistent message out to the consumer. Let's talk about first where to find this information. I want to make sure everybody knows where to find it, and that's go to alta.org and then click on resources, and then the Homebuyer Outreach Program under that category. The beauty is that you must have your Alta login to access information. If someone is not a member of ALTA, then this information is not available. So I think, just even this free educational webinar, has paid for your dues right here after you learn about all the resources. Again, it's your dues at work for you. And with that, we've got, 4 different areas that we've identified and 60 free tools for you to use. The staff has created 60 items for you guys to use. First, we'll look at blogs, and that's material that's been written for you to use on Facebook, on LinkedIn, any other social media outlet that you prefer. If you've wanted to create your own blog now to educate the whole world about title insurance, now's your time to do it because you've got information at your fingertips. The one-pagers, marketing one-pagers, these can be sent electronically to the realtors, lenders, builders, or print as a hard copy for handouts. Let these real estate partners be your distribution source. That's already been suggested by Nancy and Lisa. You can print these materials out directly to your home office printer, preferably if you have a color printer, that would be ideal. Or you can take the items via a thumb drive or whatever to your local printer. You can customize these, put your own logo, address, phone number, website, point of contact person. I know at Meridian, that's key for us with our sales staff. We put the contact information for our account manager. PowerPoint presentations, how great is this that the Alta staff has put together for you a PowerPoint presentation. So you can go to, you can use it for your staff meetings, which would be, a great place to start. For the realtor office meetings, lender office meetings, or maybe you're going to be a guest speaker at a service organization in your town, Lions Club, Rotary, whatever it is, Tri Kappa. Ideal PowerPoint for you to take to those functions. The rack cards, again, they can be used just as indicated as in a rack in your lobby, maybe as a display at an exhibit booth, a conference or a real estate event, or it can be handed out directly to consumers, maybe put in, I don't know if you have a closing folder, or it can be put, encouraged with the realtors to be put into their buyers folders, even the listing folders. If those of you on the phone or on this webinar are trying to manage all aspects of your title operations, think of ALTA as part of your team, as part of your marketing department. Maybe even consider investing in a part-time marketing or sales staff if you don't already have one. High school, college intern to help review these materials and get them out. So the screen that you see right now is an actual screenshot of the resources available at alta.org. The actual Homebuyer Guide overview gives you the objectives for the material. So it's actually telling you why the material was created, and then it gives you suggestive ways to use the material. So ALTA has done the thinking for us because they know we're all in the grind every day. So here's something that you can go to and get out quickly if you need to. Next, they've created some templates for you to use, again, making your job easier. And then if nothing else today, I highly encourage you to link your website to homeclosing101.org because that's directly to the consumer. That's what really consumers need to understand about the whole home closing process. And I'll reiterate again, I believe what Nancy said is this communication is created for all of us to transition from telling people what we do to explaining and educating the consumer on how they benefit from title insurance. So again, think of ALTA as your marketing department. And then with the screen, again, it's a screenshot of what you will actually see when you go to the website. These are all items that are at your fingertips. You can use them as they're created, or you can customize them as you desire. Our company has used nearly every single item over the past 4 or 5 months, or we have plans to use them in the near future. I encourage you to go out to the website, take time to look at each of those items. Okay, I love this slide because it's another example of what you're going to see in the resources that, again, available to members only. If you're like me, you need a picture sometimes to help you understand an abstract concept. And so imagine that you have no idea what our industry does, and you don't have any idea how you might benefit from this quote-unquote optional owner's coverage. I'd venture to say most people across the nation don't have any clear understanding of what we do. So the office staff has created this force field image, and it reminds me of the superhero theme that's so popular today. We are the superheroes of the real estate industry, and we need to embrace that responsibility. And then all of us, are in control of that force field to protect consumers from these evil issues that could compromise their property rights. So I think, again, it's such a great visual to share with anybody at a school job fair, professional education day, or even maybe as a screensaver for your employees. So with that, I think Nancy's going to lead us through some more resources available to all of us.
You bet. Thanks a lot. And I do want to reemphasize one point, which is anyone can work with these pieces, and we're going to get a little bit more into some specific examples. I mean, you can see how flexible they are, but we don't want you guys to walk away thinking you have to be a sales and marketing professional, and you're going to see how easy it is and how customizable everything is. And the reminder, they're all available at alta.org/homebuyer. But this homebuyer checklist that you see on your screen now, do you guys remember a couple years ago? I don't know, it's been a while. Alta had produced this exhaustive list of like 135 steps in the title process, from searching and examining, and it's just insane. And we loved it because we were so proud of how hard our job was and how hard we work and everything we do for people. But that's what consumers told us they don't care about. They don't want to hear what we do. They want to hear how we help them. And so this is a very distilled homebuyer checklist, which seems pretty obvious to you and me, right? How do you go out and buy a home? How do you make it happen? We've distilled this down into 10 pretty simple, straightforward, consumer-facing steps. And I really like this piece because it's super flexible. Blog article. I'm just kind of, too many things are running through my mind right now. What I like about this is, think about this. If I'm in a, maybe I'm in a buyer pay state, and I'm really worried about getting to people earlier in the process. I mean, I think you could take this as a framework for writing an article or doing a blog about, hey, here's how you buy a home in 10 easy steps. And maybe I work with a realtor and a lender to do this. You know, it starts with step 1, determine your budget. That seems, again, obvious to you and me. A first-time home buyer might not understand that determining your budget means I've got to look at principal, interest, taxes, insurance, utilities, homeowners association dues, right? Everything that goes into that. So you can take this as a framework for, again, educating people. And of course, we figure very prominently in this piece. I think we got ourselves in 3 of the 10 steps, go us. But I think you can do those sort of things with it. If you were going to do a new home buyer class, this would be a wonderful thing to do. I think we've got this as a rack card. I think it may even be a PowerPoint presentation that exists. It would be great for a new home buyer class. You could turn this into, if you do MailChimp or Constant Contact, you know, you could write something from this and send it out via that way. The other thing I want to point out, though, is while we do figure very prominently in this piece, look where we come into the picture, step 5. You know, so if you're a home buyer looking to buy a home, you've got to go determine that budget. You've got to find a lender. Then you've got to go house hunting, find the house you like, get an offer, you know, get your offer secured, get under contract, and then title insurance. So again, if I were in a buyer pay state, I'd be thinking about how I can move number 5 earlier in the process. And I think, Lisa, you're going to talk about another really great piece, which is, so the next piece, I think, is something you're going to use with your realtor customers.
Yes, thanks, Nancy. Yes, this is a great piece, and you know, this can be used in a social media campaign, in a drip campaign. It's a great piece to open dialogue with the realtors. When we first rolled this out, our sales team had a lot of apprehension. They believe, based on history, that realtors in our markets did not want us talking to their clients directly. So what we first did is discuss how their clients are also our clients, and by us providing the information to our shared customer in the transaction, it actually makes the realtor look good. Consumers want to be educated, and we cannot depend on anyone else to carry the message for us about title insurance to the consumers. This is our livelihood, and we are the experts. So when our salespeople and I started meeting with clients and using this flyer as an introductory piece, we actually found that the realtors were very supportive about us educating our clients. They understood that if something came up after closing relating to title, it was going to be their phone that would ring, and if the owner didn't understand or purchase title insurance, that the realtors were going to have to spend a lot of time with that consumer trying to find a solution. So a funny yet appalling story that I'd like to share in regards to this is when 360 Media, along with Alta, did their study on consumer and client perception. They interviewed realtors in that process as well and asked them their thoughts on title insurance. It was very surprising at some of the answers that were shared. Most said that they, the realtors, talk to clients about title insurance, you know, like explaining the $25,000 deductible if there's a claim. Yes, that was actually said. So we found this to be very enlightening. And throughout that process, we've learned, and being on the HOP work group, we talked a lot about different markets and how there are maybe a perception of hurdles in going direct to the consumer. But in our markets, what we've found is we've taken it and shifted it from consumer marketing to consumer education, and that's been very well supported, and we've had a lot of success for it. So this piece we found to be very, very effective for opening the door to many, many great conversations. And Nancy, we'll go back to you for Home Closing 101.
Awesome, thank you. I asked for this slide because there's a lot to like here. I'm a big fan of the redesigned Home Closing 101 website, which is Alta's consumer-facing website. And you can see that if you're familiar with the old site, that this is really clean, it's really friendly, it's really fresh. They used a responsive web design, so it looks great on a mobile phone, on all platforms. But what I like most about this, I mean, when I'm just a huge fan of this Find, Buy, Protect tagline that you're seeing in the middle of the screen, because this is giving us a framework for new language, I think, in terms of how we talk to our realtors and our lenders about this team approach and about how we can all work to educate together with the consumer. Think about it. You need the realtor to find the home. Lender is going to help you buy the home, but we protect the home. And essentially, it's a three-legged stool. It's that team. You know, you need all three legs of that stool for it to stand, to not topple over. And that's the team standing behind the home buyer to get them across the finish line, to get them to their home. And you know, we are, and Lisa mentioned this, I think there's been some concern, some objection we hear from people when we talk about educating consumers early in the process is, hey, my realtors are really territorial. They think it's their customer. They don't want me talking directly to the home buyer that early. And I think this approach as the team that helps the Find, Buy, Protect, you buy the home, with the realtor, you borrow the money with the lender, you protect the home with the title insurer. I just think that's just a great opportunity for those of you who are really thinking about how to go forward in your market and talk to your lenders and your realtors. And then I guess, boy, now this fun stuff, we're going to talk about some specific examples of what we're all doing that works.
Okay, so I will start with what we have done as a company. And we have over 800 employees, so we knew that exposing everyone to HOP would be a process for us. So how we started our process was with a HOP box. And in our box, it contained 2 acrylic stands to hold rack cards. We started with the FAQ rack card, and we sent a box to every branch with a letter of explanation to the branch manager. We had already met with all of our division managers to fill them in on the program and make them aware that every branch in their territory would receive one of these. We included the Alta Manifesto for their break room. If you haven't been on the Homebuyer Guide site yet and seen that, that's a great resource. I think it brings a lot of motivation and energy back into what we do. After last year and the TRID or know before you owe, it was a tough year on many of our folks. So we took the manifesto, we blew that up, and we wanted that available for people to put in their break rooms to remember just how important what they do each and every day is. We also included that the flyers. We took the tips for talking with homebuyers flyer, the what every realtor should know flyer, and we added in some talking points and tips for talking with homebuyers that might want to opt out of purchasing owner's title insurance. So our goal was to arm all of our employees with what we felt was a solid, simple message to share with potential homebuyers or homebuyers that were in the office. Again, we tried to put a lot of this information up front. So the other thing that we included letter to put in their opening packages, and that was frequently asked questions as well. In California, there's actually a document that must be signed pursuant to the Civil Code if a borrower opts out of title insurance. We put that in our California operations boxes so that they remembered that now that it's optional on the closing disclosure, if they had somebody that wanted to opt out, that would need to be signed. That's made our lives a little easier here in California, but in our California operations, but for our other operations, that hasn't been the case. So we've seen examples of buyer pay and seller pay states as well. We've also used, back to the hot box, so once we sent those out, we had the branch managers meet with their staff. We put the FAQs and the acrylic stands either in the lobby waiting room or in the signing rooms where it was easily accessible to all the clients. Again, we gave them some tools to use up front in their opening packages and opening letters that we send out as well. And we now are going to go back around and start specifically training on some of those things that they've had a chance to kind of dig into the information, look at what's available and what we provided. And so now we'll start circling back around. We'll start adding things, some other things to the process. The one thing that I really want to reiterate is don't let the home buyer guide be overwhelming. When you look at the site, there's so much information on there, and there's so many things that as you look through them, you think, gosh, this is really useful, and I can see this, being implemented in these ways. So, but maybe take one thing, start there, especially if you don't have a marketing department. And the other thing that's really important that I think we need to mention is if you don't have a marketing budget, so many of these things are free to utilize. You can utilize them as social media posts. You don't have to pay for Facebook, obviously. You can use them as a blog. Some of the other things that we've done for social media and online are to take various pieces, and we've cut sections out of them, or we've used an image, and we have utilized those for consecutive online posts or social media posts. And we've also worked with our local media. So what we've done with that is prepared some press releases that got picked up in certain areas and got picked up by local or regional media. And they were useful pieces. They got utilized. And then we've had a couple areas where those folks were invited back to actually provide monthly informational, educational pieces and tips. So again, that's a free resource. If you don't have experience with preparing press releases, there's many resources on the internet that you can look at that are viable resources as far as obtaining education on how to do that. But again, it's just another source that you can use to utilize this information. And don't let the categories tunnel your vision. If there's a piece in the blog and you really like the text in the blog, utilize it in many different ways. Take those pieces out, put it in your social media, utilize it as a series in a drip campaign. There's many things that you can do. And again, there's always the print that's available. And, it's just nice because this is an overall package. You have print available, you have online, you have rich media, which if you look on the website, there's interactive ads. So if you want something that, is a little bit exciting, but yet you don't have the resources to create, it's there for your taking. So those are some examples of how we have used the products online. And Laura.
Yeah. So love this photo of Mr. Einstein, and as we all know, he was a great influencer of the philosophy of science. And we're hoping that everyone embraces that we are resources to influence and embrace the philosophy of marketing your services directly to consumers. And a little bit of how Meridian Title has done that, we actually plan out a monthly flyer, and when we say that, that's both electronically and hard copy. So the flyer goes out electronically to the customer base, each sales rep's customer base. These are customized with the Meridian logo, website, phone number, and then again, each sales rep's contact information. Those get sent out directly on emails. Those get on social media, and they get distributed again in hard copies. They're in all of our offices, so at the front desk, when someone comes up to the receptionist desk, they can grab one. So they're all various ways that we've used that monthly flyer available from Alta. Our website, it links to the Alta website, and then it also links to the Home Closing 101, designed for the consumer. So that's another way that you can market some of these resources. The Alta Manifesto, our marketing team and our Director of Marketing has framed this very beautifully and hung these in all of our office lobbies. And again, I think that's a testament to taking control of getting our message out. Just another way to do that. And then the local events. Everybody in our company is encouraged to be a guest speaker at a local event, use the PowerPoint again at, let's say, the Kiwanis Club, Tri-Kappa. I've mentioned some of these before. Maybe even the local fair. I know that in some of our markets, that is the way to reach the consumer. Why not? Maybe set up next to a lender and a realtor at a county fair so people can start to see the process and how everybody works together. Those are just some of the ways that we've used it. We've very, very heavily focused on social media from Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm sure there's some other ways, but LinkedIn is the way that I have used these materials personally, and there are some occurrences where I had the most amount of hits for the day, and I found that interesting. Not that I have that many followers on LinkedIn, but anyway, those are just some of the ways that Meridian Title, and I think Nancy has some more ideas to share in the next slide.
Thanks, Laura. First, I want to thank Jeremy for giving me this awesome image on my slide. I love this little girl in her super cape, and that's an N on her shirt, I'm quite convinced. But I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the stuff I'm doing. It's all easy, and it's all free, and that's kind of the best part. The easiest thing you can do, and I would encourage you to do it as soon as you get off the phone, add something to your email signature line. Right now, above my email signature, I have something that says, questions about title insurance and how it protects your property rights, call me or visit Home Closing 101 to learn more, and have a link to Home Closing 101. But you could easily say, I'm in the peace of mind business, ask me about it. Or here's reason number one why every home buyer needs title insurance. I would tell you not to overthink some of this stuff. Just pick something that makes sense and works for you in your market and do it. Jeremy, can you go to the next slide? So here's something super easy that I just did the other day. And as you guys can see, I'm no graphic designer. So pretty straightforward. This is an MS Word document. Any of you guys can do this. So I took some, I wrote my own copy. It's based on copy in, we have a couple, I think the manifesto would be one, which is a piece to use with your staff that empowers them about, what we do. And there's another one called We Sweat the Small Stuff. You sweat the small stuff so your customers don't have to, essentially. And I wrote my own copy, and I printed out each one of these, one for each of these for each of my employees, asked them to put it at their desk. And the idea is that it's a daily reminder why we're here. Why are we getting up and coming to work every day? What do we do? And it also gives them that easy answer to the question when they're at daycare drop-off or at that cocktail party, and somebody comes up to you and says, hey, what do you do? Well, I protect property rights, or I provide peace of mind, or because of me, I provide buyers with confidence. Buyers can buy with confidence because of the work that I do. And literally that took me minutes. I mean, literally minutes. And while I had that, I thought, well, what the heck? I just created this thing. Jeremy's going to go to the next slide. And I screen captured that essentially, and I threw it up on my website or on my Facebook page. So there I have two things, totally customizable, totally self-created, with no sophisticated tools, completely free, that is continuing the conversation with my employees about educating them about the messaging, and then getting up on my Facebook page. Literally half hour, cost me nothing. Here's another piece. This is actually one of my favorite pieces in the Homebuyer Guide because I think it's super flexible and you can do so much with it. So this one is 7 reasons why every home buyer needs owner's title insurance. And we're going to talk a little bit about, in a little bit, about the Alta print shop. But what is super cool is that Alta has got all these stuff, all these materials in the Alta print shop. And you're going to be able to go online, and we're going to show you where to do that. And you can add your logo, as you can see I've done. You can customize these. You can change copy. You can download them, or you can order it to be printed right there and drop ship to whatever location you want. In this case, you can see I've inserted my logo. What you can't see on the bottom of the page also, there's some contact information. I was able to customize that. I completely rewrote paragraph number 6. Paragraph number 6 talked about how 8 out of every 10 home buyers gets title insurance. Well, if I'm in a buyer pay state, that works for me. That's great. You know, the majority of people think this is a great idea, but I'm in a seller pay state, and basically 10 out of 10 people get owner's title insurance here, and the last thing I want to do is put that question in somebody's mind that they don't have to do it. So I wrote a paragraph that worked for me, and I specifically referenced, hey, in Wyoming, the seller pays for the buyer's owner's, you know, the title insurance policy, and the seller is paying it forward because it was provided to them as a warranty of good title when they bought the property. The other thing I'm going to customize, and this is really cool, I just found this out yesterday, paragraph 3 talks about Alta has done some, you know, crunched some numbers, and they've determined that on average, owner's title insurance costs 1/2 of 1% of the sale price. I was able to get all my numbers from 2015, and again, depending on what software you're on for your production system, my IT guy was just able to run me a report. He created an Excel sheet that showed me every owner's policy I issued in 2015 and the premium. We're at 0.2 of 1% in my branch for 2015 in terms of what title insurance costs. You better believe I'm going to go in and modify that paragraph and customize it for my branch. What I'm doing with this piece right now is we've just started giving it out with every, when we send out our title commitments. But if you're, again, in a buyer pay state, you may want to figure out how I can get it out sooner. Can I get this in the consumer's hand the minute we get that order? And this is where you're going to work with realtors and talk to them about why it's so important to educate the customer. This would also be great. You need to turn it into an article. Each one of these 7 items could be a separate Facebook post or a signature line. You know, it's kind of you're only limited by your own imagination on a lot of these pieces.
Now we're going to talk about training your staff. And just one more comment back to the last slide with Nancy. The other thing is offer those pieces, you know, they're branded with your logo and information on them. Offer them to your clients, the realtor and the lender, to help them inform the client early on in the process. So if a potential buyer comes and meets with a lender, they can give them that information. We've had a lot of clients in our market take advantage of that. So it's a great piece to share with your realtors and your lenders. Now we're going to talk about training staff. I've shared some information from our perspective how we've gone about that or begun the process. And with the Homebuyer Outreach Program, there's this training strategy that's included. And the goals are to lead, educate, and empower Alta members to be proactive and communicate the value of owner's title insurance. So to do this, the strategy is be proactive by establishing a solid communications framework within your organization to handle all objections and questions that may arise. Simplify the message by streamlining communications so that the value of owner's title insurance is clear to all audience and all of the stakeholders. Increase homebuyer demand by educating and encouraging homebuyers to ask about and purchase owner's title insurance. And lastly, to provide the tools to ensure Alta members of all sizes that they have the right strategy and blueprint for success. And I think that that's really important of all sizes. And it goes back to staff training. Your staff may be 2 people, it may be 15 people, it may be 35 people, it may be 800 people. There's varying sizes. And I think the important part is that the way that this is structured, it makes it easy for everyone of all sizes to implement. We'll talk about the different options. And Nancy and Laura, please feel free to weigh in at any point in time, anything that you'd like to add about training your staff. We'll go through the options really quickly. We have the SMART option, and you'll see that these themes are similar with the consistent language used in the Home Buyer's Guide material. You'll see a theme 1, a theme 2, and a theme 3 with various options. So the SMART option, talk about how it is the SMART option to provide owner's title insurance. It's always been optional, but we feel that this is the best way to protect a home buyer's transaction. And you can go through the SMART option. Keep it simple. Again, the research told us that home buyers need to hear this simple solution, right? So in the purchase journey, home buyers are confronted with overwhelming amounts of detail. And so go through the keep it simple. And then 3, you're the expert. Again, it comes back to us and the way that we take advantage and express what we do on a daily basis to all of the parties in the transaction, be it our realtors, our consumers, and our lenders. Laura, Nancy, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I wanted to just add, I mean, this is a great opportunity to do, you know, a really fun staff meeting or a lunch and learn or something like that and get your whole staff together, you know, walk them through that, help them with this new language, do some role playing, you know, pretend you're at a cocktail party and go up to your, you know, your receptionist or your title officer and say, hey, what do you do? You know, and, you know, I provide peace of mind. I'm in the peace of mind business. I protect property rights. I think once you start kind of having the conversation and talking it through, there's some relief involved. You know, those of us that have been in the industry for a long time, we all struggled. We all struggled with words. How do you describe this complex thing that we do? And how do you make that understandable and relatable to people? And I think your staff, I found, I think they're kind of relieved. They're happy. They're pleased. They're, thank you. Thank you for the right words. Now I got to do this. So I you to start that sooner rather than later, get everybody speaking with the same voice. And then for you, remember that it's not a one and done. You're not going to have a staff meeting and walk away and they're going to get this stuff. And, you know, just the other day, I printed that piece and gave it to all my employees as once again, hey guys, here's a reminder, here's the words we use, here's why we're coming to work every day. Yeah. Laura, do you have some other thoughts on that?
Well, I just want to piggyback a little bit on what you said. Role-playing, I think, is key. I think that is how it does ingrained in us, and knowing what to say, you know, at those unexpected moments. You know, I love that idea of, you know, role-playing at a cocktail party. Maybe for some of you, you could even host your staff at your home for a little cocktail party to do just this. But the only thing I want to add to what Nancy said is that do this with enthusiasm and with conviction about our industry. You know, everybody in our companies needs to be an asset for what we do, and they will gleam off that. If they see that you're excited about this and, you know, you're on board with it, and you're speaking with clear conviction about it, they're going to get on board with it too.
Great point, Laura. I agree. And on the next slide, we're going to talk about 3 things to start today. And I know we've thrown out a lot of information in the last 49 minutes, but we're going to start walking through it as far as taking it down to 3 things. You can plan one staff training, whether that's a hot box, whether that's hosting a lunch and learn, whether that's inviting people over for a cocktail party. You've heard a lot of suggestions on those things. Take one thing that you can walk away with today and I can do that. We can implement that. Whether it's just, you know, the other option is sending out some information to your staff saying that this is a program that, you know, we can stand behind and start the ball rolling on how you're going to implement it. The second thing, create one new consumer touch point. So all of the information that you've heard today, you go visit the website, take one thing away that is a consumer touch point, and then use one tool for your real estate clients. So Laura, Nancy, do you want to talk about that? I know, Laura, you were going to talk about a consumer touch point.
You know, and basically, Lisa, it's just what you said. It doesn't matter what you pick. Just pick one and implement it. Take action. And for example, you know, just creating that Facebook post or even an ad. So the screenshot of Jackson Hole of her Facebook. I mean, that's simple and free and easy, and do it. Be proud to do it. Even if you wanted to take out an ad, our director of marketing has explained that the ads are extremely cheap, and you can target your audience. Hint, millennials maybe. So yeah, and something I would challenge, I'd love to know if anybody has ever done a billboard or intends to do a billboard, because that's a crazy idea, but I think it is a way to get the attention of, and certainly a way to educate directly to consumers. So, I'm just throwing those out as just ideas to implement, and it, again, doesn't matter what you do, just take action.
Yeah, and with
So
your real estate clients, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, no,
the real estate, with the real estate clients, we've got some materials that are very specifically designed, and those are great, right? So we've got what every realtor should know about owner's title insurance. That's something you could turn into a presentation and go to an office presentation and do a question and answer give and take with the realtors. The 7 reasons why every home buyer needs owner's title insurance. Will they let you put those rack cards in their office? Will they hand them out when they're meeting with customers or when the property goes under contract? So were there specific pieces? But I would almost suggest, even if you take a step back from that, you don't have to have a marketing piece necessarily to start or open the conversation with your realtors. Just start talking to them and explain to them why we want to educate home buyers earlier in the process. Ask them, hey, is this, here's why I really want to communicate directly with the home buyer as soon as they contract. Will you be willing to work with me on that? Hey, can I send the title commitment directly to the customer rather than sending it to you and having them forward? I'd really like to be the point of contact for at least title insurance. I'm not trying to usurp your role to replace you, but I want to make sure they know that I'm here if they have any questions. So again, I think it's really, the sky's the limit. You're only limited by your own creativity. Use the materials, don't use the materials. Use them as a jumping off point. But just get out there and start doing it and start having the conversations.
Agreed. That's a great point. So now our next slide is really exciting. I know that Alta has done a phenomenal job at, giving us the tools to succeed in this campaign. And the latest introduction to that was this site of altaprints.com. And this is an actual print shop. I know, we talk about all these things, and sometimes we walk away going, oh my gosh, it's completely overwhelming. Where do I even begin? And wow, I really like this flyer, but how do I customize it? And where do I send it? Do I have if you don't have a relationship with a print shop, are you going to be printing them locally in your office? The nice thing with the print shop is that you can still do that. It's easy, really, really easy to personalize these items for whatever you'd like to do. You can either send them to the print shop from this site. You can actually download them as a PDF and print them. And where you benefit is that Alta has negotiated a large bulk pricing for printing. So if you only need 25 items, you're still getting pricing as if you were printing thousands. So it's certainly a benefit. I encourage you to check out this site, alta.org/homebuyer. Again, plenty of items at your fingertips on that, and then meetings.alta.org/hop. So workshops, training, print shop are all available resources. And Nancy and Laura, do you have anything to add?
What have we not said?
Yeah, just repeat that this is your Alta dues at work for you. Utilize it, and it's easy. Yeah.
It's a member benefit. It is a member benefit. If you're not an Alta member, you don't have access to these resources. And I just can't emphasize enough how easy it is and how anyone can do it. You don't have to be a salesperson or a marketing professional. You could be in an office with one other employee, and this is stuff that you can do. And that's, to me, we recently were at a training for some of this, and we sat down and we kind of went through, gee, what are all the things you can do for free, and what are the things you could pay for? And I think our list of the things you could utilize for free, 10 times long is, sure, you can go out and buy a print ad. That's going to cost you money. But the majority of the stuff is all designed to be very little or no cost.
And I think valid, the message that we really wanted to put forth today is not only is all of this at your fingertips, but we as an industry have an opportunity to really take back the message that we send. And, although regulators kind of pushed us in that direction to some degree with title insurance being optional, it is for us to be the voice of what we do. And nobody knows it better than than we do. So, you know, take that back, utilize these tools, and you know, we hope that you certainly see the success that we've all seen by implementing some of these programs. So now we're going to go on to questions.
Yeah, actually, I was going to have some concluding remarks, and you guys hit the key messages, so I can pretty much bag that part of the presentation. But no, great insight into what you guys are all doing in your markets to customize this material. As a reminder, if you have any questions, submit them in the question box, and we'll pitch them to the panelists. We've had a couple come in. You know, one, Kelsey asked a question about the top 10 chart, and Nancy, you were on the committee from the day one that you know, pretty much tried to break down the 135 steps down to 10. And his question was, shouldn't be number 6 be get title insurance commitment, and how it's written kind of implies you're getting your policy before you close.
Your policy, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. That was a hard-fought battle, and I think we went through about 50 different iterations because we have people on the committee from different states with different customs, different practices. And I agree, if I were going to use that in my market, I would customize that, and you can. So any of these materials, you know, do what works for you. I think, well, there's, you know, themes, and we all do certain things that are the same. One size certainly does not fit all. So I agree. I would modify step 6. You know, get your title report or review your title commitment, or you know, whatever that might be, because the policy comes at the end of the process. And that there is, I think, buy with confidence or something like that. And I would say also, and I'm not sure this came out, Alta has no prior ownership on any of these materials. So when you go to the print shop and put your logo, it scrubs the Alta logo. It comes off. I mean, they are giving you this stuff to totally use as you see fit. So make it work for you.
Yeah, and Nancy, you touched on it. When we started down this road, it was very difficult to try and make this work for an agent who may be in Ohio as opposed to an agent who's in California, because how the industry operates is so distinct in each area. Can you talk, we had a question come in, and you actually talked about it a little bit earlier when you were referring to the piece for the realtor, but they're in a seller pay state. Why should an agent worry about any of this material?
It's a good question. I've thought about that being in seller state, right? And we talked about some of the reasons, you know, CFPB calling us optional and taking control of the message. But, you know, for me, if you look at this from a self-interest point in your business, and what do we all want for our business, right? We all want more market share. We all want more business. And, you know, I'm thoroughly convinced that if you are putting yourself out in your marketplace as your market leader, as an expert, as you're the one who more than your competitors is in a position to give that comfort level to that buyer, guide them through the process, you know, get them across the finish line so that they're buying with confidence, they're not complaining real, they're not feeling confused, you know, that they don't know what the heck is going on. That's going to, it's like the right side, you know, raises all ships. It's going to reflect well on everybody. If that buyer has a great closing experience and you've been there to guide them through it and give them that confidence, I think that's going to reflect well on you with your realtor. And I think that, you know, that comes in spades. And the other piece of it is, well, currently, if you're in a seller pay state, right, you're marketing to the realtors, you're marketing to the lenders. They're the ones who are directing the business. Well, what does it hurt to also have home buyers out there asking for you, right? So the home buyer might be, you know, in our market, a listing agent, the seller pays for it. So the listing agent's placing the title insurance. Maybe the listing agent wants to sell it to send it somewhere else, but if that buyer likes me or thinks we've been helpful to them and they request us, that's great, right? So I think as many people as you can have out there on your side of this thing asking to run the deal through you, that's what we all want. So I think there's some good self-interest reasons in terms of business development that we want to do it.
Yeah, and kind of, I guess, Kelsey Granberry, female, male, so I'm not sure, so I apologize. Question, a follow-up, $1 million question, I guess. You know, have any of you seen an increase in business from this?
I'd say too soon to tell. How about you guys? I mean, I feel like we're just kind of getting our teeth into this thing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Our social media activity has gone way up. So I know we're reaching people. We're gaining exposure. You know, again, we're early into the process, but certainly we have had more questions and random phone calls into branches than we ever have before. So I believe it is working, but as far as being able to provide statistics or analytics at this point, it's too early for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned, as the millennials become more of a force of home buyers, they're going to really want to be more involved in the transaction, and it's going to become more imperative as we move along in this process. Any suggestions on software on staying in touch with your clients? Joanna was curious if any of you guys have any programs you use in particular.
I think Constant Contact, or a free version of that, is MailChimp is really good in terms of doing email marketing campaigns. Do you guys have any other thoughts?
I'd say bombbomb.com is a really good resource as well. You have to have a subscription to it, but you can post and share video or educational, vignettes. Things through that as well.
And you said bomb, B-O-M-B-O-M?
Yep, bomb.com.
Okay, thank you. And I'll take one more question. We're already a couple minutes past the hour. Jennifer wanted to know, and we probably should have included an image of it, would have been helpful, the Alta Manifesto. What's that all about?
That is a cool piece.
Yeah.
Alta Manifesto is a really cool piece. It has a background, and it says, "We are the," and then ... investigators, analysts, and counselors, the protectors of property rights. We inspect titles and advocate for home buyers. We seek a high standard of accuracy. We provide peace of mind. We are the authority in real estate transactions. We assure that land transfer is expedient and secure. Our commitment to exceptional service strengthens our mission. We reduce risk so that home buyers can rest assured. We are Alta members.
Yeah, fantastic. A great piece, and I think one of you said you've printed it out and put it up in your office.
Yeah, I bet everybody's got it up, right?
Yeah. At Meridian, we do have it in all of our lobbies, and I remember, it sticks in my mind because I remember at the Alta conference, I think the annual conference, where each of the board members and or staff, whoever it was, each came out on the stage, almost like an Academy Award presentation stating that manifesto. And it was powerful and I think meaningful, and it's put a lot of meaning, I believe, behind what we do.
Right.
And if you go to the Alta print shop, you can have that printed on foam core in a big poster size. So you just go on, order it, and that's going to show up at your office and stick it in the break room.
Right, and you can order it through the print shop. You pay through there. If you have a nice printer in your office, download the PDF for free, print it in your office. The second handout that's available to download is a flyer outlining some of the upcoming training about the Homebuyer Outreach Program workshops. There's an April 3rd training in Minnesota, April 12th program in New Jersey. There's an event April 19th in Florida, and then there will be one on August 3rd in Missouri. You can also go to meetings@alta.org/hop to get information on the schedules for that. Anything else you'd like to add before we call a close to today's presentation?
I'd like to add, if anybody has any questions about what I'm doing in my branch or about the program, feel free to email me, nhughes@jhtitle.com, and just leave you with the idea that, just do it. just find something that you think makes sense, and keep it simple, one thing, and do it.
Yeah, and if you need the contact information for any of the speakers, feel free to email me and I'll connect you in case you didn't catch the email. And just wanted to thank everyone for attending, because at the end of the day, we can't forget that the ultimate end game in all this is focusing on the home buyer. That you guys, the industry, provides them with the peace of mind and helps protect their property rights. And it's going to take all of us, and your attendance in today's webinar, next week's Business Strategies Conference, or any of the programs throughout the rest of the year and going forward is going to help us get there. Looking ahead, our next Title Topics webinar will be in April, and we're going to focus on cybersecurity. So pretty much an abrupt switch from Homebuyer outreach program to cybersecurity. Specifically, we'll focus on major provisions of state data breach laws, including what constitutes a breach, requirements for notice, and who must be notified. We'll also provide a plan to help agents be prepared in case a breach happens to them. So watch for registration information for that webinar. And with that will bring us to the conclusion of today's presentation. Nancy, Lisa, Laura, thank you again for taking some time and sharing with everyone on the call what you're doing in your markets to connect with consumers. I hope all the listeners found the presentation useful. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good job.